I'm Charla with Freezer Meals 101. Today I'm making some meals for my niece. She and her husband just had their 4th baby, and since this is their 3rd girl, I'm sure that what they need more than cute little baby outfits are some meals to help get those kids fed and help her on those really busy days, because with 4 young kids, I'm sure that she's got her hands full. I know that after we had our kids or adopted new babies, it was always so appreciated to get meals from people. I have planned about a week's worth of meals for their family, and I chose the recipes based on what I thought would be kid-friendly and also what sales were on this week and what I thought I could bake pretty easily. So we're gonna get started. Let's see. I think we will start with the beef hash. So I've just taken a permanent marker and written on the bags. So in here I've got 1.5 pounds in each bag of ground beef. I cooked that up last night and added it to the bags so that it would be ready to go. So to each of our bags, we're adding the 1.5 pounds of ground beef, and then we're adding some frozen hash browns. The reason I'm making 2 of these meals is first because it is really kid-friendly. Kids especially like it with ketchup. But also because it calls for half a bag of frozen hash browns. And if you're gonna open a bag for that anyway, you might as well just make 2 and use the whole bag. So this way they can have 2 meals, and I'll take them a little further. And so I minced up my onion earlier, so I'm gonna add about 3/4 of a cup minced onion to each one. Okay, we're gonna add some pepper to each of the bags. Some dry onion soup mix. I keep my dry onion soup mix in one of these resealable, reusable silicone bags, because that way I can use it for freezer meals. And I buy a no MSG one from a bulk store. So we're gonna measure out 3 tablespoons of dry onion soup mix for each bag. So now we're just going to add 1 cup of beef broth to each bag. I'm just going to use the same measuring cup that I used for the onions because I want to dirty less dishes. So and I went ahead earlier and grated the cheese that you need. And I put the cheese in medium-sized resealable bags, and then we're actually gonna staple the cheese onto the bag above the seal. So these are those, so it's 1.5 cups of shredded cheddar cheese in each bag. So we'll staple these on, and then when you're baking it, you add the cheese in the last 10 minutes. So now I'm just gonna add the hash browns. This recipe doesn't need to be exact, so I'm just gonna eyeball the half a bag in each. And that's it. You've just got your ground beef, your onion, a little bit of pepper, the hash browns, of course, and some beef broth, and the dry onion soup mix. And we're gonna seal these up and give them a shape. So you don't need to worry about taking the air out before you do this. You just want to get it really mixed around in there. So if you've got some music when you're doing this part, you have a little bit more fun with it. But as you can see, it's a nice, easy way to combine it. So I'll do that to the other bag too. and then we'll staple the cheese onto the bag. The reason I like to grate the cheese beforehand and staple it onto the bag is then you don't run into any problems where the day you go to make it, you realize that you don't have cheese, or you don't have time to add it or whatever. So it just makes things as easy as possible. And of course, because these aren't for me, I don't like to assume that they have any ingredients that we would normally have in our house. Okay, now that you've mixed those bags, you're going to seal them again, but this time you're going to get out all the excess air that you can. Because as you know, air is the enemy to freezer cooking. Air causes freezer burn. So we gotta get out all the air that we can. You can even put a straw in there and suck the air out if you want. I've gotten pretty good at over the years at getting that air out myself. And some people use a vacuum sealer. I haven't tried that myself, but like I said, I've gotten pretty good at over the years of getting the air out. And so we've got our beef hash there. We're gonna grab one of the bags of cheddar and staple it right on. Again, make sure you do it above the seam so that nothing leaks. And one meal completely ready to go. Now this next one, we're just gonna do the same thing. Okay, the next recipe we're going to make is really simple as well. Like I said, I chose easy recipes this time, but ones that I thought would be nice for their family to have. This is a sausage and pepper skillet. So last night I made up these sausage meatballs. All I do is I squeeze Italian sausage out of the casing. I chose just a mild Italian sausage with basil because with her nursing, I don't want things to be too spicy. And then I put those on a cookie sheet, put them in a 375-degree oven for about 40 minutes, flip them once, and then it creates these great sausage meatballs. Then I am adding some yellow pepper that I've sliced already and some red pepper. So I'm adding about half of a yellow pepper and half of a red pepper. Nice and colorful. And then I'm doing one sliced onion. Again, this is prep that I did yesterday, which helps today to go so much faster. So just toss that in there. And we're doing 2 cloves of garlic. One of the cheats that I do whenever I'm doing freezer meals is for almost everything except our garlic butter shrimp, I use just like a pre-done minced garlic, and we go through a lot of this when we're doing meals, so it's just a time-saving step. So we've got a couple cloves of minced garlic there, and then I've got 2 teaspoons of Cajun seasoning. I'm going to just do 1 teaspoon because again, we're trying to keep the spice level low whenever you're making meals for a new mom, or if you're making meals ahead in advance of you having a baby. It's really nice if you just keep in mind that you'll have to keep your spice level low. 14-ounce can of diced tomatoes. Now it would really help if I had plugged the electric can opener in. I'm super disorganized today, but I'm getting there. It's working out. We've got 2 meals down, so we're working on the next one here. Okay, so we've got our can of tomatoes in there, and Just going to give this a little bit of a squish and separate those onions. And that's really it. So this will get heated in a skillet and you can serve it over rice or you can serve it in wraps. Really, really easy meal. So next we're going to move on to our chicken meals. I had kind of taken all the gross bits off the chicken and put them in bags earlier. Now the nice thing is I'd actually planned to only make them 2 chicken meals, but once I got my chicken home from the store, I realized that I could turn it into 3 because I'm used to buying for our large family. So even though they are a large-ish family, some of their kids are pretty little, and we've got 9, they've got 6. So, and since the baby isn't eating, this can stretch a little further. So I'm able to make them a whole extra meal, which will give her 1 more day or 1 less day of having to cook. So that made me pretty happy. Okay, so the first chicken meal we're gonna do, super simple, is just a lemon pepper chicken. This is one that we really like around here. I have to grab a measuring cup. Be right back. Okay, so we're doing a 1/4 cup of lemon juice. I have to make sure I get it on the right bag. Yeah, there we go. I wrote on the bags earlier and I wrote the cooking instructions for her, so that makes it really easy. So this is just a 1/4 cup of lemon juice. And I put the chicken on top of the recipes. I can't read it. Okay, some garlic, a teaspoon lemon pepper, a 1/4 teaspoon Italian seasoning. Okay, so this recipe actually calls for cayenne, but again, same reason why I use less of the Cajun seasoning. I'm not gonna add the cayenne for them. So now we're just doing 1 teaspoon lemon pepper and 1/4 teaspoon Italian seasoning. I'm actually going to do 1/2 teaspoon Italian seasoning just because I'm not adding the cayenne, and because with Italian seasoning, you know, it's hard to go wrong. So we've got our lemon pepper and our Italian seasoning. One of the things that saves a lot of time is if you're going to be making a lot of freezer meals at once, if you get all your ingredients out. Then you're not running around your kitchen trying to find things and realizing that you're missing one of the seasonings or you forgot to buy something or whatever. So that is a major time saver. And seriously guys, that's it. This is like another meal done. This lemon pepper chicken, you can cook it in the oven, on the stovetop, or even in the barbecue or the crock pot. So super easy. Just gonna get the air out of this bag, and then that's really it. Squish that around, and we've got lemon pepper chicken. Guys, this is amazing. They already have 4 meals, which I know is going to be a huge help. And when you've got a new baby and you're not getting any sleep, the last thing that you want to be worried about is how to feed your family. So this is so, I'm really happy for them, and I'm happy I can do this for them. So the next one is a cheesy chicken tater tot casserole. Tater tot casserole, if you want a way to make your food super kid friendly, take whatever recipe you've got and throw some tater tots in there. Kids will eat it, and you can still get some other nutrients in them. Okay, so we've got our pound of chicken breast cubed, so I went ahead and cubed that earlier. And then your tater tots, which I'll grab in a second. We're doing a small bag of real bacon bits, or you can cook up bacon yourself and just crumble it. I am doing bacon bits today, so I'm just gonna throw the whole bag in there. And we're doing 2 cups of shredded cheddar cheese, which I've already measured out. Again, when you do your prep, it just saves so much time on the day you're assembling these. And some salt and pepper. And a can of evaporated milk. The reason that I use evaporated milk in a lot of my freezer meals is because milk does not freeze that well in recipes. Tend to get not the greatest consistency after you thaw it. So I like to use evaporated milk. Then you get great consistency, no issues at all. Just toss that in there. Now this is a crock pot recipe, so it doesn't get any easier than this. You can throw this in the slow cooker, go about doing the rest of your activities, come back and get this for supper. So now we're gonna add our tater tot. Again, frozen potatoes, like potatoes that are already frozen, like hash browns or tater tots, freeze great in recipes, but just adding raw potatoes to freezer meals, they can turn black, they can get weird textures. So I tend to stay away from adding raw potatoes to freezer meals and only add cooked potatoes or potatoes like hash browns or tater tots that are already frozen. So this one, again, we're gonna close it without worrying about the air and give it a good shake. Shimmy that around and get it all mixed up nicely. And then we'll worry about getting the air out of the bag. Okay, we're gonna get our air out. I mean, what kids are not going to like tater tots, bacon, cheese, chicken? It's pretty good. You might have to do like a side salad or a side veggie or some raw veggies on the side just to get a little bit of that nutrition in there, but still a really great meal. And technically, tater tots count as a vegetable, right? Okay, I want to flatten that out so that it takes up less space in their freezer. I did contact my niece ahead of time and let her know this was coming so that she could make some room in her freezer. I did ask about their dietary needs and their preferences and asked about how much space she had. So I want to make some of these as compact as I can. Okay, cheesy chicken tater tot casserole done. Now we're going to do sweet and sour chicken. So we've got our chicken breasts in here. It calls for 3. I added 4 because there are quite a few of them. And it calls for carrots. I didn't have any. Like I said, this was a recipe that I added and wasn't planning on doing. So it's gonna have to be without carrots. So we're gonna do 1 can of pineapple chunks and we're gonna keep the liquid in there this time. So just toss that right in. And 1 onion that's cut into wedges, so that's this already cut for me. And 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar. So we've got 1/3 of a cup packed brown sugar, and then a tablespoon of soy sauce. Got some. Actually, you're not supposed to have pepper. I hope that little smidge of pepper I put in there is not going to ruin the recipe. Salt is what I was going for. Just being real, guys. I'm not that organized today. I have to grab ginger and soy sauce. Because this is the recipe that I added, I didn't take out the ingredients for it. So I have to go and grab, soy sauce, ginger, and I think I have everything else. I'll be back. Okay, I love these squeeze tubes of ginger. Great way to get like fresher ginger without having to grate your own. So this is what I always use, are these squeeze tubes. And then, let's see, I use this measuring cup, and we're doing, oh, it's only 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, so I don't need a measuring cup. Okay, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. Now, when you actually make this meal, you're going to add 3 tablespoons of cornstarch mixed with a 1/4 cup of water. I should mention that a lot of these recipes will be in the description box below, so you can click on the link to the recipe, print off the recipe, and have everything that you need. So don't know if I have the link for this one, but most of the other ones should be down below. Okay, so seriously guys, that's it. We have another meal done. So this is our sweet and sour chicken. I'll just make a note on the bag that if she wants to add carrots, she can. That'll make it a little bit more of a complete meal. It'll also make it more colorful because you'll get your yellow pineapple and your orange carrots. Okay, the next recipe we're going to make is these BBQ pork chops. Now, our family actually isn't big on pork chops, but I know that a lot of families, especially with young kids, love them. And pork chops seem like they were a good price. Again, I don't really know what to compare them to since we don't really eat them very often, but seemed like a good price. And I thought it might be a nice thing for their family. It seemed like a pretty kid-friendly recipe, so just add those into the bag. And then we're going to do 1 cup ketchup. See why I thought it was a kid-friendly recipe? 1 cup water, 2 tablespoons cider vinegar, 1 tablespoon Worcestershire, I don't know how you say it, but however you say it, that. 1 tablespoon brown sugar, and 1/2 teaspoon pepper, 1/2 teaspoon chili powder, 1/2 teaspoon paprika. So there are a lot of ingredients, but they're all pretty simple. So I'm gonna go wash the gickiness off my hands. I'll be back. Okay, so my 1 cup of ketchup, two tablespoons cider vinegar, 1 tablespoon of that sauce that I can't pronounce, did I only do 1 tablespoon of the cider vinegar? I feel like I only did 1. I'm gonna do the second one. And if I accidentally did 2 already, then my apologies to my niece for the vinegary barbecue sauce here that we're making. All right, now 1 tablespoon brown sugar. I'm gonna grab a new tablespoon because this one's wet. I don't want to put wet things in my brown sugar. Okay, got our brown sugar and pepper. This time it's supposed to have pepper, so add that. And chili powder, says 1/2 teaspoon, so Since I haven't made this recipe before, maybe I should actually measure. And half a teaspoon paprika. So this one is the paprika. I think this actually would be a great sauce even to make for meatballs. I'm kind of thinking this might be a sauce I should try for meatballs. Maybe even chicken, but for sure meatballs. Okay. Got our chili powder. Now, 1 cup water, and that's completely it. Okay, so now I'm gonna give it a squish and we have our barbecue pork chops. Now, the other reason that I chose this recipe is I was trying to give a lot of variety. Some chicken, some beef, some pork. You know, we've got the sausage, and what do we have coming up? Let's see. Oh, we've got a really amazing pulled pork recipe, and I'm going to do pasta for them because I just feel like, again, super family friendly. It's really hard to go wrong with pasta. So this should lay pretty flat. I just want to mix that up so that the seasonings are good and combined. When she takes this out to thaw, this is going to marinate really nicely and get right in there. Okay, barbecue pork chops. Now, pork. So we're doing a Dr. Pepper pulled pork. Now for this one, I actually bought 4 of the porks, and I'm gonna make all 4. So I'm just gonna clean up the workspace a little bit here, and then I'll get started on that. The reason that I bought 4 is because they were mega on sale, and we love this recipe. So I knew that it would be great for our family to have, so I could make, it's like, guys, it's almost just as fast to make 4 as it is to make 1. You've got all the stuff out, you just line everything up, put it in. So really, if I can make some extra meals for our family while I'm at this, it's win-win. Okay, making space. Okay, so this pulled pork, it's amazing. The flavors are amazing. You have to try this. So it calls for like 5 to 7 pounds of pork shoulder or butt, but I have tons of different sizes here. I have this massive one here, and then I have a much, much smaller one here. It's like half the size, but it's not gonna matter. I've made it with different sizes, and there's enough sauce to cover no matter what size you use. So you're gonna do 1 onion. So I've pre-chopped the onions, and 1 onion is about 1 cup. So I'm just using a cup measure to measure out the onions. And then I'll just divide the little bit that's left in here among the bags. Now, this whole entire thing is gonna take me, as you guys have seen, less than an hour. We're gonna be able to make 12 meals in less than an hour, but I want you to keep in mind that last night I did do some prep. So I sliced the peppers, sliced, cut, and minced the onions, and coarsely chopped for that one recipe. And I made the sausage meatballs and browned the ground beef. So I also cubed the chicken for that one recipe this morning. So I did do some prep, but still, like, all total, less than 2 hours to make, you know, 12 meals. So this is really doable if you're expecting a baby yourself, or if you want to gift these to someone that you know. Super doable to just do in an afternoon. Okay, now we're gonna do 1 onion, we did that, and then a can of chipotle peppers in adobo sauce. Now there's a bit of kick to this, which I will warn my niece, but it's actually not terribly spicy because you're cutting the spice with the Dr. Pepper. So 1 can in each bag. And again, the link for this recipe will be below. If you're looking for other freezer meals or easy ways to feed your family and time-saving tips, be sure to subscribe here. I'm always sharing new videos with ideas for snacks, lunches, breakfasts, dinners, and lots of ways to enable you to spend more time with your family and less time in the kitchen. Okay, after this we are adding in our brown sugar, 2 tablespoons per bag, and a little bit of salt and pepper. Now I'm adding the cans of Dr. Pepper at the end, and that is on purpose because I don't want the bags to fall. So sometimes if I'm making freezer meals with my neighbor, which is usually how I make my freezer meals, I make them with Christy, she will hold the bags open while I pour the cans of Dr. Pepper in, just so that we don't have a spilling, leaking bag everywhere. Now today, if one of my kids is handy, I might grab them, or I might chance it, and we'll see what happens. Okay, brown sugar. Now, do you guys see how fast it really is to do 4 bags? It's really not a lot more to do these 4 than to do 2. So whenever you are making freezer meals, if you double, triple, quadruple each recipe, you're gonna just end up with more meals, and you can save time. And it's a great way to save money too, because if you're buying the items when they're on sale, nothing is going to waste. You're using absolutely everything that you bought, and you'll just have more meals to feed your family. Okay, so we have everything in them except for the Dr. Pepper. Each one is getting 2 cans. I'm gonna do this big one first because it seems the most stable. Just holding up my bag so it doesn't end up everywhere. But this is going to be a very full freezer bag. Now, the Dr. Pepper helps to tenderize the meat. So on the day that you cook this, you'll thaw it, put it in the crock pot, and then you'll shred it and serve it on buns. Delicious. And if you want to kick it up a notch, you can make some homemade garlic mayo, put that on your bun before you add this. That's a little trick that Christy taught me. Amazing, amazing. This is a great recipe for bringing camping with you too, if you bring your crock pot. I've done that many years. It's a great lunch. Okay. 1 Dr. Pepper pulled pork. Now I'm going to attempt these next ones. I think they'll work out okay. My kids saw the Dr. Pepper cans yesterday and they were asking, when can we have some? And I was like, after I make the freezer meals. Because I've learned the hard way that if I let them open the case and let somebody have one, then somebody else comes along and has another, and before I know it, I don't have the 8 left that I need for this recipe. So the kids will be happy that I'm done with this, and the first 4 kids home today will get those leftover cans. So for our last meal, we layered some spinach and cheese ravioli. It can be any kind of ravioli, it doesn't matter. We put a single layer in the foil container. I did video it, but I forgot to hit record. So you'll just have to take my word for it. And then we put 1 jar of Alfredo sauce. You can also use tomato-based pasta sauce if you'd prefer. And then we did a layer of matzo cheese, shredded matzo, and then another layer of ravioli, another jar of Alfredo sauce, another sprinkle, nice generous sprinkle of the shredded mozzarella. So now we have a pasta bake. You don't have to pre-bake the ravioli. It cooks right in there with the sauces. So really nice, easy family meal. So if you are looking for more freezer meal ideas, again, subscribe. And I really appreciate you joining me today. It was a lot of fun to make meals for my niece, especially because I know when I had my own babies how helpful it was to have easy meals to go to. And these are great for new moms or just for regular families. Thanks again for joining me today. If you have comments or questions, put them down below, and happy cooking, guys.